This is the Gaming Rev, and today we're going to be looking at the skill tree in my time at Sandrock. So we're going to have a look at the skill trees they are. Now, to bring up the skill trees is the P key on the keyboard. I don't know what it is on anything else. And there we have it. There are 4 skill trees. You have Gathering, Workshop, Combat and Social skills. Now these work by every time you use the skills you gain experience. That experience eventually gives you points that you can spend in the skills. Big difference between Sandrock and Portia is that in Sandrock the skill points can only be spent in the skill that they were earned with. So in Sandrock, if you earn points by talking to people, you can't spend them on gathering, production or on combat. If you earn them by bashing the living heck out of creatures, you can't spend them on anything else other than combat. In some ways it's a massive improvement because it makes the skills actually relevant. You need to have a broadly developed character and be doing everything to get all of the possible perks that you can. On the other hand, it does mean that you've actually got to spend time going around and talking to people, which you may not necessarily want to do, despite the advantages it does give. So I'm going to start out with our first skill, which is Gathering. Now you will see that some of the skills have chains across them, unknown knowledge. These are skills that aren't in the game yet. Remember, it is early access as I'm filming this, and as the message at the top of the screen says, early access version does not represent the final quality. So some of these will come in over time, and as they're added in, I will come back and we'll either update the video or we'll post a new video with the skills in. So looking at the Gathering knowledge, you've got 4 trees off of here. You've got the basic Gathering, you've got wood knowledge, stone knowledge and stamina knowledge. The basic Gathering knowledge, each level gives you a slight increase in your skills from various things. So 10% increase in the put my teeth in. 10% increase in the experience gained from gathering resources. Level 2, 10% increase in experience gained from recycling. So once you've gathered those resources, then recycling them, and 10% gain from scavenging. Moving on from there, you've got herbal knowledge. Now this is really important, and it's one that I will look at increasing quite soon myself. First level, get twice as much dew when collecting herbs. Now that's really important. Dew is collected to make water. Water is what you need to keep your machinery running, keep it running at a cool temperature. Otherwise, it don't work. And water is rare in this game. So having twice as much dew when you collect herbs is a big deal. Level 2, gain a small chance to find a 4-leaf clover when collecting herbs. I've not set it up to do it. I don't know what 4-leaf clover does. When I find out, I'll add it into the comments to let you know. The dustbin picker-upper. Basically, when you go through junk piles, you've got a chance of getting twice as many dregs. Useful early game because it's one of the main fuel sources you'll have early in the game. And a small chance to find gold and diamonds. Again, I haven't found a use for these yet. It could be that it comes in towards the very end of the game. It could be that it's one of the features not added yet. Stamina. This is quite important, really and truthfully, early on. I should have got it before now. Increases your stamina points maximum by 5% for each level. Because there aren't many ways of increasing stamina, that's actually quite a big boost. And then the recovery knowledge, the food that you eat, either by ordering food or by actually eating it, increases stamina recovered by 10%. Your wood skills, logging and gathering of wood, and it's the same for stone. Mining and gathering for stone increase 10% for the experience. With advanced wood knowledge, you have a chance of getting 2 points of stamina returned when you're logging or kicking trees. That's quite useful, but 10% isn't a big chance. When kicking trees, there's a small chance you'll knock out everything that would be available. Well, so far I'm managing to knock everything out with only one round of kicking anyway. And 10% extra materials when logging. It is useful, but not overly so. So as I say, mining is the same as for the logging. Advanced stone knowledge, 10% chance to return 2 hit points of stamina, and 10% extra materials when mining. That can be useful, because if you get the extra rare resources, that can be very helpful. You then go on to these, which are the special ones. Now, there's not a lot of chance of them, but it does make a difference. 10% getting an extra data disk if you find one. 10% of getting extra nitro, which you use to make gunpowder if you find some. 10% getting extra gem if you find one. And 10% of getting an extra power stone if you find one. Now again, 10% isn't much of a chance, but it's better than a kick in the teeth. It's something to invest in at the end levels. So for your workshop, you've got the 3 skill trees going off. The first and most important is this one on the right hand side, the mass production. You've then got learner knowledge and yard knowledge. So mass production knowledge gives you 10% more experience making items on a work table. Level 2, 10% experience gained from items made by machines or at your work table increased by 10%. So that's quite a biggie. But the important thing is it leads to this, water conservation. Level 1, water used by machines slowed down by 10%. Level 2, amount of dewing needed to make water decreased by 2. Now to make a barrel of water you need 10 dew. So if you can reduce the amount of water you need from 10 to 8, and you've doubled the amount of water you're collecting from collecting herbs, that makes making barrels of water a lot more feasible. You're still going to have to use all 3 methods of getting water. Collecting dew, using dew catchers, and buying water to keep your workshop running in the early stages. But that does make a big change. The next ones on this side, fuel saving, I'm not sold on. Although you will run out of dregs occasionally, you can use wood and power stones and condensed power stones. So the truth is that really and truthfully, by the time you get to mid-game, you're going to have more than enough fuel anyway. Or mid-game as it is at the minute. Time management, more useful. It speeds up the machinery that you're using to make items. Now, I can have production queues running that take sort of 8 to 12 hours. So that 10% or 20% improvement is huge. It does make it a lot easier to make the stuff. The next one is learner knowledge, 10% more experience constructing on the assembly station. And again, 10% more from the assembly station, so 10 and 20%. Leads up to 2 locked ones, don't know what they're going to do. But again, this is a biggie. Quality goods knowledge. When you make your goods, you get 4 levels. You've got normal, outstanding, perfect, and a pinky purple level that I can't remember what it's called, but it's the top of the tree. This gives you a chance to make a better quality item. Now, early in the game, that's not a major issue, but as you progress in the game, people will actually ask you for better quality items as their commissions. So whereas before you could go and take your outstanding items and sort of take them to the commissioner and they want it, they'll ask for perfect items. And you have to have those perfect items. It's grey, green, blue and pinky purple. And they will ask for the blue items, certainly that I've seen. And you can either craft them with the chances of getting it from this knowledge, and the next level up increases the chances of that, or you have to refine the item, and that takes more resources, and they're resources that are hard to find a lot of the time. The next one is the yard knowledge. Maximum stat increase on furniture to increase by 10%, not that useful. Planting knowledge, this is quite good. I will cover it more when I do a video on the farming because it's quite involved. But basically the growth of crops is sped up by 10%. You get 10% more crops from a harvest, and then again another 10% from the harvest. Storage knowledge, price of unlocking backpack slots decreased by 5%, and then another 5% to make it 10. That can be quite useful because I'll be honest with you, you're going to end up unlocking a heck of a lot of backpack slots as you start delving into some of the deeper ruins and as you move on to going to the second set of abandoned ruins. And the price of buying new land for the workshop decreased by 5 and then by 10%. Again, useful because you will need to expand to get the extra equipment that you need in. Combat is the most limited knowledge chain at the moment. As you can see, virtually half, two-thirds of it is locked off at the minute. The key things on here are basic melee knowledge, increases damage by 5%, and then you have 4 specialisms. You have the sword and shield novice, which gives you a 3, 4, and 5 hit combo, and each of those hits in a combo does more damage each time. Heavy sword, two-handed sword effectively, 3, 4, and 5 hit combo. A spear, 3, 4, and 5 hit combo. And a dagger novice, 3, 4, and 5 hit combo. When I've unlocked some of those, I will actually do a video showing the differences in the fighting styles and what the sort of damages you can do with it are. Damage is affected by your combat skill, the combos, but also the quality of the equipment that you're using, and that comes back to what I was saying again in the workshop chat. The other ones that are unlocked are maximum health, useful but not overly so. Your health increases quite quickly and you can make health potions quite easily. And long range knowledge, it's useful when you get hold of guns, but again that's more of a mid-game item. It's not essential first off. And finally, the social interactions. Now in Portia, I'm afraid I didn't bother with socialising too much. I spoke to the people I needed to, I got the points for the social gains from commissions for them, and that was the end of it. In Sandrock, it's more important. You've got 3 sections to it, and I'm going to go to the one I haven't done first. So you've got social activity knowledge. Your social skill will increase by 10% when you socialise with non-player characters. And level 2, you'll get the little friend status, so you'll see on the map a picture of them moving around, so you know which dot is them. Not much use really. Social knowledge experience gained from interacting with townsfolk in day-to-day life increased by 10%. So again, you talk to them, you get more social knowledge. This is why I say it's more important now. Social knowledge experience gained for completing commissions increased by 10%. So when you complete a commission for somebody, you get better social knowledge experience. But that leads to these. Quality bonus knowledge. So an extra reward received when turning in high quality, higher than requested commissions, increased by 10% beyond the initial bonus. So when you turn in a higher quality item, you get more money, more social points with the person, and you get more workshop points. Now you think you add 10% onto that as well, and you're building up your workshop skills a lot faster. Chart topper knowledge. When you're at the top 3 positions of the commission board, the Commerce Guilds board, you get an extra 5% commission rewards. And finally, if you turn the reward in on the same day it's issued, you get another 5%. So you can actually get 20% more rewards from those for each commission you turn in if you do it the same day. That can make a massive difference to leveling up your commission skill, which gives you more chances of getting more commissions of higher value. Well, that's it for this episode of the Gaming Rev. I hope to see you in future episodes when we look at my time at Sandrock.